you know what's even better than big cargo planes? Even bigger passenger planes, and with that the A380 is now finally in the game as well. That is just an amazing mod, and of course we're using it in our usually high capacity route. So as you can see, it's doubling the capacity of my Boeings that we had before, and of course it's also Airbus, which is just a huge plus on that side. And off it goes. With just the most beautiful sounds out there, and yeah, delivering now 100 people per direction. So we will really need to tone it down now on the planes here, and look at how beautiful and massive it goes from over there. It just looks so realistic, I think. Probably one of the most beautiful passenger aircraft out there in the world. Also extremely fast for its size, of course. So we can go up to 900 kilometers an hour with that now. And this is also a very long haul route, so it should be fine. We're using just this one now, right? It was 3 before that, so I'm just gonna go with this one and just see how it goes. By the way, this one here makes its first haul now. And as you can see, 100 planks are waiting here for delivery them. Now, I've made a bit of a mistake here. We're using now one terminal for different lines. This is not good. So what we can actually do here is I'm gonna get rid of this hangar, and we're gonna add the hangar a bit further over here if that is possible. Not every airport needs to have a hangar though, right? So you don't need to have this everywhere. I would rather have another cargo terminal, right? So this way we can actually have those here now, just like the depots really. Or just like my trucks running, right? So let's just have a look, manage the line. And we can now say for Haywood Airport, please use Terminal 2. Oh, wait a second. No. There it is. That's the one, right? Terminal 2. And it's now using that one only. By the way, has this one merged? But it has 2 entrances now. This is platform 2 and this is platform 1, right? And the other one that we had, the Carden Cargo, where we actually have a lot of vehicles on it, by the way, that we could also tone it down. And this one still goes for 1. Perfect. Now, I would like to continue this episode right away with my next high-speed train, and that is, of course, Madison now. Now, Madison is in a very good position here, right? So we have Phoenix close by, we have Albany, we have Wivenhoe, and we have also Fort Bridge down here that connects them to Orkney. So it's a good position here to create some some train lines. And the first one is going to be the connection of Madison all the way over here with Camborne, because having this connection, Madison kind of like is then connected with Leeds down the road. Of course, Madison Leeds is also interesting. And Leeds is my city with 1,800 residences. So yeah, let's go with Leeds actually. Also, when I look at Leeds, it's getting a bit crowded here. How can the city develop? Right, we have our train here. It's building along here. And it doesn't cross the station there yet. So this would be something we could give an incentive and just do it ourselves. And by the way, also what I would like to have here, Leeds, I never expected to be that big, right? So Leeds has the problem right now that it's way too small for what it offers. Look at that, there's 700 people waiting for this train here right now. I've neglected this, and we should really modernize Leeds. I'm waiting for this train here to pass. And then we're deleting it. And while we wait for that, let's actually have a look at the Leeds airport route. There are 500 people that want to go to the airport, right? And that's no surprise, of course. I would like to fly the A380 as well. So let's replace our old Mirage that we had. And I'm gonna go with the commuter train now. The commuter train is also relatively cheap in maintenance, right? When we're looking at the other ones, it's barely above the Mirage, and it can carry 100, so twice as much in one direction. Also, it's just looking much more modern and sleek. And of course, you want to travel with this one here in the future. And I also just love how we can see the skyscrapers there in the distance of our big cities. Now with that out of the way, let's do it. Poof! There it is. Leeds station is gone. However, of course, It's just temporary. We're just leaving some tracks here. And then I'm gonna push my passenger station. 7 tracks it is. 320 it is. Oh, this is very long. And high speed, of course. All of that. And the moment we build it, Leeds station is active again. Right? And I just need to connect it now again properly though. With what we have. So especially this one here. Looks a bit strange. I mean, there shouldn't be really a crossing here anyway. But I think it can't be avoided for that one. Okay, so there's the connection. And then it's this one here. That's the pass-through. And then we have the airport line probably here. Because this actually has then the best curvature. And I just love how the city actually built right beside the tracks. Let's just remove all of this. Right, and we can actually get in there pretty straight actually. Ah, the train will need to slow down. But it's already entering the station at this point. So it will certainly not be faster than 170 kilometers as it enters that station, right? So with that, we have it out of the way again as well. I think I deleted a waypoint that I will need to get in here again as well. There you go. So what's missing now? Haywood Leeds could not connect all stations. Yeah, doing this in an afterthought is a mess, honestly. Right, so we're coming in from Leeds waypoint 1 to Upper Leeds. So it's this one here. Platform 1. No, of course, it should be platform 2 here. Because we're on our way back. And this actually solved it, right? It was just this tiny puzzle that was missing. So this one's working again. And then we have still the Leeds Airport. And this one is still going through the wrong track. So the game actually should do it automatically for you. It does not. Okay, so this one's active again. And look at it. It's beautiful. I love this train station. And of course, now we can really work on the high-speed train system that connects then Leeds with Madison. A direct connection is not possible for the high-speed one. There's too many industries in between. So unfortunately, at least those 2 industries will need to kind of like, yeah, drive around. I just hope that we can do this. And there is a collision warning here again. Should be fine though. Let's always stick to the ground. And if we go underground, that's no problem at all. Alright, so if we are already underground here. Oh, we're not. Like, really? No, we should be underground. This point here is as high as this one. Alright. Okay, now we're underground and now we should stay down there. And yeah, my CPU has quite a bit of calculation to do on its way to this point. 45 million sounds reasonable. Oh, we have also some new bridges. They look fantastic. Yep. Gonna go ahead with this. And we should enter then a tunnel here. And this tunnel goes all the way then to the other side. And here we leave again, right? Can we choose a different one? No, still that one. 50 million it is now with the upgraded bridge that we have. And with that, we got Leeds and Madison connected. And once again, I'm going to go ahead with the ICE as my favorite train out there to connect both of these cities. With 300 kilometers top speed. The Shinkansen would also be nice to look at this point. Perhaps I can mod it into the game. And just as we're reaching the millennia, 2000 it is, we also get some new trams. Those beauties here. Also much more sleek design. And yeah, once again, also the cities change. We get some more futuristic architecture now. And we probably should also upgrade some of the older roads here. So these, they look a bit out of time here. Out of space, out of time. I would also like to connect Madison with Phoenix here with a point-to-point train line, and we got some new locomotives for this, these two here. And the cool thing about them is this one's electrified, right? Has a much higher power, so it's twice as strong as the diesel one. But this one here costs only half in maintenance, the diesel one, right? So I would like to go with the diesel one, since this is a relatively short route, so the power doesn't really matter that much, rather than the maintenance. And do we have a new car for this? Yeah, it's the bi-level car that I can still use on this. Let's just check it out. Going up to 132. It looks a bit strange, right? Could go for this one. It's already mediocre then. Yeah, we'll just see. Alright, gonna add this one here to the Madison, or to the Phoenix Madison route that we have. Coming out now right over here. Those new locomotives. Chonk chonk, so that we create a new demand here, of course, that is not there yet, and that is the connection between the two cities, which is important because Phoenix hasn't had any public transportation up to this point here, right? And this, of course, leads to more growth then. And of course, once again, you name it, we need a tram for this. And that city saw that we built a tram, and boy, it just had to place another skyscraper right away. Just because of that. Of course, there's so much more connected to this now, right? Because it has connection to Madison, it has a high-speed connection now to Haywood and Leeds, and it also has a connection to a passenger airport, right? So all of that, of course, adds up, and with that, all of these destinations open up now for Phoenix. And the further into the game you open up a city to public transportation, the higher the boost, right? So this one's already breaching then 60% in an instant. Yeah, upgrading the airport transportation has its side effects. That is that there's so many people waiting here now that I probably will also need to upgrade my transportation here. And of course, we're also going to say here now the A380 for passengers. And I'm actually going to keep 2 of them on this one. And just like in real life, the original terminals are way too small for a plane like this. Yeah, that's just something you have to live with right now. Gotta make sure though that we keep the hangars going, right? Because I have lost them. I think 2 of them might be too much. Yeah, we'll just see. This is pretty hard to calculate on my part. There's always the airport transportation coming in here too. Delivering a chunk of people right away. And look at the details. We also have a cargo hold there. As this monster is now taking to the skies again. There's another one though. So this was the Orkney Haywood. And then we got the Carlton Haywood too. That is also not quite full. Alright. So an A380 is probably not the right choice here. But we have other ones, right? We have a new one here too. And that's a Boeing 737. No, it's not for passengers. Ah, there it is actually for passengers. But it has a lower capacity. That's not good for us. So I'm just going to stick with the old 737 on this one here. 757, sorry. Now, some of you have been pointing out that I do have a lot of vehicles in my cities. Of course, that's the only way to get the goods in, right? But this leads to a very bad noise situation here, or emissions situation. So we got a penalty here of 40%, which is just massive, right? 40% is more than 40% on the plus side. Negative 40% is devastating to cities, so it can really hinder your growth. So some of you have been suggesting, and we're doing this now, is that I'm gonna increase the maintenance for vehicles that are going into the city. We can go up to very high on this one here. This will increase the running cost of this vehicle by 50%. However, it reduces the emission because this vehicle is then in a good shape and the condition should improve because of that. We could also go for vehicles that give me lower emission ratings, right? So we got the emission here, 67 it is. And funnily enough, the small Japanese ones have a higher emission. And the older versions have also a higher emission. So we're already using the best available trucks that we have. Also, with the higher capacity, of course, we need less trucks, which leads to less emission again. Now, I've been going for this now for a couple of cities. Also modernizing the buses. We were still using the good old Gaggenau, if you remember. And now this also changed. There's also still the fuel trucks that we have. It's these guys here. And they have an emission of 71. So here we can also do some good stuff, right? By finally modernizing them. I will also not need that many, honestly. Because there's not gonna be that much fuel rolling into the city all the time. And with that, I'm hoping that we can get this number here down now. So there is still, that's my new bus route now, right? So the upgraded version. That should hopefully also add some bonus there. It's even worse in Leeds. Leeds has a emission rating here of 60% negative. That is just crazy bonkers. And of course, the reason for that is this depot here. So we have a lot of traffic going into the residential zone. So this is something we really need to tackle. Otherwise, those cities cannot grow properly. So for this one, we have an option, right? We have the option of moving this depot down here. This will actually disrupt a couple of lines here. So 3 lines we have. And wait a second, we have the green lane here. I might actually push all of them now into a proper area. So into this area here. And I just hope that we can make it work like this so that we get this rating down. So for example, there we have number 1. That's the grain drop-off that we had. We also have this line here. Now this is a bit of a tricky one because it gets the grain from here, right? Gets them over into this area and brings the food back home again, as far as I understand. And this is also something, yeah, it was nice in the beginning combining this, but right now it doesn't make that much sense anymore. So I'm also gonna move now this depot here a bit further down, right? So, I mean, theoretically, we could get rid of one of those fields. I think they're purely cosmetical, but it's still nice to see it. So, now let's actually move it there. I like the field. And let's just take this one here. And I'm gonna say now the Leeds East that we have, we're gonna add the station here now and just delete the Leeds East, right? So now we've moved it and let's just check it out where it goes. It goes to Park Lane, but it should go now to my grain drop-off point here. No longer Park Lane, right? With that, we've redirected the whole traffic now from through the residential zone all the way down here now to the main road that we have there, to the highway system that goes in here. This will definitely lead to less profit on these truck lines, but let's be honest here, these are just supply lines, right? I don't care about a meager loss there of 100,000 if another line gives me 28 million or so, right? What we have, for example. So this just way makes up for it, right? If we provide more people, we can have a better high-speed train that just gets in way more money. Now, we have this massive line up there, Leeds Central, and we need to increase the size of this depot for that, so that we get really a lot of trucks in and out. And what we could do here is we could also have a street access on that side that has then a connection with this area. So this is going in and out done. This is the last stop because we got a lot of traffic from the food going to Haywood, for example, right? And this is something that we can really push away now. So Leeds Food Haywood, there it is. And we're gonna say now, take not Leeds Central, but take this area here, Leeds North, right? So this is now my point of exit here. And we will also, of course, need to take all platforms for this. You can also specialize each line into one platform. Also works, but I think just everybody taking all the platforms works best for the flow of things here. So that's number 1. There's the food already coming. Perfect. Also important for Wales. There's a lot of traffic going away to Wales because it's far away. And there's quite the food demand on that, right? And then we have one that's Leeds Food. Okay, this is actually the food delivery service into Leeds Central. It still uses very old trucks. And we are also going to say here now, take this one. Take all the platforms. We might even say for these vehicles. So first of all, of course, we are going to replace them with the new ones. And I don't need that many. I'm just going to sell me some 4. The rest we're replacing. And I'm also going to say for these, go on high maintenance, right? Because I really want to have a lower emission rate for Leeds in this case here. Still negative 60. I hope all of this works out. We'll just see. There's the truck. There's the tram. The tram is fine. We still also use a bus system as far as I know. There it is. Once again, the good old Gagano. Rocking it away. And I'm going to replace this one also now with the latest Volvo 5000 that we have, with a very good and low emission rating there. I mean, the mass is actually better, isn't it? It has a higher capacity. It has higher loading speed. Let's go with that. That's a new bus that I haven't used yet. And look at that. In Haywood, we are already dropping to -30 now from -40. So this actually works out. So now it's looking like that. In that zone. We probably will need to get some additional platforms going here. Because of course traffic increases now. Look at that. Private cars are using my depot as a pass-through. How dare they? That just should be illegal. I think I cannot actually say no to this. But there's still no real congestion here, so it's fine. Finally, we are also looking at something new and revolutionary for us. It's especially useful for these long haulage trains that we have going here right now, like this one. It's one of my most profitable train routes that we have, and it is completely full in both directions all the time, and simply just limited by the amount of plastics I can get over there. And the train left a couple of minutes ago, and it's already over 400 plastics again that's waiting for delivery. Now, we can do something here, and we can finally in 2000 replace our steam locomotive here, the blue one, and we're going to replace it now with the very powerful and very expensive BR-185. The cool thing is about this one, it's a bit slower, right, and a bit less powerful than the BR-103, but also only half the maintenance cost. It still reaches the top speed of 160 kilometers an hour that we need for our new wagons that we have now. Hooray! We got the box car. This can go at top speed of 160 kilometers an hour now, and on top of that it has a way higher capacity per wagon, right? So 7 more tons. We do also have the gondola, the new flat car here with stick. So this is all 2000, right? This is the latest tech that we can use. And we have the box here. Let's actually replace it before it docks, and let's just see how high we can go with this. We're going with 350 right now, so going with 400 is my go-to now. 160 is the top speed. Of course, we can make this one now way longer by simply adding another locomotive to the whole train, like this one here, right? Adding this one here gives me good conditions again, and we could make the train even longer now again. So we could push it to 500 capacity. Don't forget though, with a second locomotive, we're also paying twice the maintenance. So this is something that you should absolutely only do if you can really make this train twice as long. Right, otherwise it's not gonna be worth it. I'm gonna stick with good for now. This is not good enough. 320, 400. Let's go with 420. Oh, no electric path. Wait a second. You kidding me? It's because we are still using this very old station here. But this time around I'm not screwing anymore. I've installed the global upgrade mod, and in this case here we can now just take this one and globally upgrade all of my trains with electrification, and that's this one here, right? And lo and behold, that we have the tracks without having to do anything else. I don't need to delete tracks, you know, I don't need to do anything else. It just cost me a bunch, but that's it. And what I love about this mod too is that we can do the same thing with these outdated old small streets that we have in the city. So that's the small street, and we are gonna go with the small street new. And you can also then choose if you want to change here anything. We're just gonna keep it, so whatever is on the road right now, like if there are tram tracks, we can just keep them, but do not add them if there are none, right? So we don't want to have them everywhere. The same goes with the bus lanes, the same goes with the player ownership. So if there is no player ownership, then it stays like this. I don't want to take over all the streets because that would just add a lot of maintenance to me. So I'm not going to do this. But that's a very good one, right? So small street, old one goes to the small street, new one now, and execute the upgrade. And with that, we have now upgraded road. So this is going to take some time, right? This is kicking in as we speak. And as you can see, in progress now, out of the 634 segments, 222. Some failed to upgrade, but other than that, we have now beautiful modern versions of the streets. And we were also able now to successfully upgrade that train before it even docked. So now it docked, right? And now it's coming in, and look at that. These boxcars are really cool. So it's unloading right now. Oh, we will also need to, of course, make this larger a bit. And then they're loading it up. And you can even see those goodies coming in here. Lovely. Closing, and off it goes again. And this time though, with a top speed of 160 kilometers an hour, which is going to help, of course, tremendously with getting the volume back and forth and also increasing my profit down the road. And it doesn't take long for the first cities to breach 2,000 on the inhabitants, despite having a penalty of 40% here because of the noise that is for a Cardigan, for example. So in this case here, that is once again a city where we're using some very outdated trucks like this one here, getting the construction materials in. By the way, we could use one of these here, but I'd rather go with the old cargo. It just gives me more flexibility. And let's also reduce the amount of vehicles on this route so that we can further get it down. Look at that. What a relic of the past. This poor soul has had no weather cabin for 150 years. Still going strong on that one here. Holy cow. I didn't even realize what the hell I'm doing here. Look at that. Holy cow. Actually, we should sell them before I upgrade them, of course. But when you have so much money, I simply don't care about the right steps all the time. But in this case here, of course, needed. Holy cow, really, that was an upgrade. A generational uplift. We're also still using the good old Gaggenhaus on this one. By the way, we got a new bus, is that right? No, it's still this one here. The green one, I like this way more. And we do have in Cardigan no tram at the moment. Yeah, I'm fine with that. Even though that city has quite the size at this point, and getting something from here into downtown could also help. I'm still gonna wait a bit. This game is so realistic that even here the A380 doesn't stay profitable for that long because you simply don't have the capacity at all times running these planes. That's just incredible, right? And it's not at full capacity, unfortunately, right? So this is the Orkney Cardigan route, and just one of them is enough to completely deplete it, right? So there were 3 aircrafts before that were full at all times, and this one here, because of its speed and because of its capacity, is having so much throughput that I cannot keep up with the aircraft, right? I just cannot do it. And that means I will need to replace it again with something more efficient that we have. And we do have a bunch of them. And I would like to go for that's the Airbus A380 that we have. And we got the Airbus A320 over there. It's also an absolutely fine vehicle. And it also costs you like only a fourth of the maintenance costs, right? While maintaining almost the same speed, not the capacity, of course, but running 2 of them should already do wonders. So I'm actually going to replace it with this one now. And these are the ones that you basically see everywhere in the world right now, right? The A320. And in this case here, that's just probably going to be the right vehicle for the job here. I'm going to add a second one. It's going to wait though a bit, so that we can ramp up those aircrafts again. This one here is still doing exceptionally well, despite not being fully utilized, right? The Boeing 757 that we have there. That's because the maintenance cost of these vehicles is just much lower than that of an A380, for example. I'm still going to keep an A380 though on my biggest passenger route that we have for prestige, right? But for the daily usage, these aircrafts are just way more economically sensible to me, so useful, right? So that's just gonna make all the difference here. And you can actually load them up then. That is the important thing. Much more useful also for the global upgrade is that we are upgrading all of my tracks now to high-speed tracks, right? There you go, finished already. And now we have high-speed tracks everywhere, be it cargo, be it normal local commuters, or be it also passengers, right? So 1,445 segments were successfully upgraded. Very nice. That's just more useful for the trains going forward. And I think the upgraded version is not only useful for high-speed trains, but also for maintaining higher speeds when entering those stations, right? So the older tracks were just way more unstable for this. And especially my airport trains here should profit from this as well. Now, regarding ships, there hasn't been that much development. I mean, I would probably not want to go on these boats here. It's the connection, of course, to Islington that we have over there from Carterton. In this case, we get something new though, right? So finally, after all this time, let's have a look at that. They're looking pretty sleek, honestly. And it's the Damon ferry. This one has not that much capacity, but boy, is it fast. Like 70 kilometers, it's more than twice as fast where it can do its stuff. And this type of ship has an aluminum hull, is insusceptible to rough seas and is powered by 4 MTU main engines. Let's go ahead finally and get this on the route and let's have a look at that. It's beautiful, no doubt, and not that rusty anymore than the one before. So this is hopefully gonna do a bit of a difference here, right? With the, I don't know where the other 50 people now went, right? Probably overboard. I should not have upgraded that ship while it's in the middle of the ocean. Probably wasn't the best idea for these 50 souls that kind of like got lost on its way to that station here. Regarding ships, we are still using the Merlin. In this case, it's not the best one, right? So I'm really a big fan of the Schaffhausen. This was the last ship that actually was able to carry all goods, right? So fuel and any type of cargo. Up from that point onwards, it's always just fuel and the rest, right? So you always have one version for fuel and one for the rest. You cannot combine that anymore, which is a shame. So this limits my routes a bit that we have. By the way, Orkney took the lead in the most popular city so far, 2,300, with a plus of 280%. And as we can see, it is actually starving of goods, so potentially we could get way more over in here. Also got a really cool new bus, and I would like to show this off. The Wright Streetcar, and is an articulated bus developed by the Wright Bus and Volvo. It is based on an adapted Volvo chassis and has a separate driver's compartment and is air conditioned. On top of that, it is super fast, right? So it can go to 100 kilometers an hour while also carrying 26 passengers. Loading speed is high and the emission is also pretty low with this one here. So let's purchase that and use this bus to connect now York and Leeds. And bear in mind, York has not been connected to anything at this point, right? So York is over here. It has no public transportation. So this is kicking in now. It's a city with 800 people and it's probably going to explode now because of public transportation. Because what I've also seen is that you don't need to have cargo transported as long as it's connected to the global stage, right? So it's just exploding with that a city once you connect it to the other cities. Of course, providing goods just brings it then to a much higher level. Yeah, let's just actually get us in a few of these and let's have a look at this. Like it looks like on the preview, it looks like it has no wheels, but there they are, right? Looks very funky, that one, and yeah, can go quite fast. That's important now for this distance. Why I'm using buses and not a train, because the distance is very short. So also, where should I get my tracks? I could try and get the tracks here. I could also try to go underground. Either way, this is a very tricky business here. Could connect it to Haywood. That would be more realistic, right? Going in here is still problematic though, because once again I would need to cross my oil stuff. I wouldn't say it's impossible, but it's definitely going to be tricky. New developments also in the tram business. We got now the Vitias over there. This one actually has a higher capacity. The B Cobra that we had that was 2001. Actually looks like the 60s. And this one is now 2014. Actually lower maintenance cost. Top speed I don't care about in a city. I would really care about capacity mostly. Also loading speed, so this one has a higher loading speed. Let's replace this one in the high density cities like Leeds, for example. These trams are usually never really profitable, right? It's all about getting people to stations where there are more profitable routes than waiting. It's a beautiful one. I really like it. On top of that, we have now finally a new train that I would like to use for my intercity trains. Not the high-speed one, not the direct transportation to airports, but the train that is connecting several cities like this one here. They're okay profit-wise, right? They're not exploding or anything like that. They're really just transporting people back and forth. And it's this one here, right? And we can now replace them with a new version that I really like, the dual stocks that we have there. This one has a higher capacity actually than that one. Maintenance wise, it's actually probably not so ideal. The locomotive would cost me 1.3 on this one, together with the Einheitswagen, that's 500,000 each. I do have here, for example, 6 on them, so that's 2.5 million, 3 million, 4 million, 4.4 million is probably safe. So this is higher on the maintenance, but it has a much higher power, can carry more passengers, and is much faster too, potentially, right? So I would like to get this one going now on these routes here. And there it is. Also, they're quieter and look very elegant. I love them. And these are now connecting the cities, right? So just between cities, it's all about capacity here. It's all about getting people fast to the next city right away without covering too much distance. And yeah, speaking about my high-speed trains, so the TGV, for example, we can see it right now. It's on its way to Cardigan. This one's completely overloaded, right? So there in Cardigan League, we had 350 people waiting despite the train just leaving. So there it is. And in Cardigan for League, we have, oh, okay, 170 waiting. It's not that much. So here, what we could do is we could add a second TGV to this, right? So this would double the capacity. It, of course, will also double then the maintenance cost. So this can only be profitable when you really have this one utilized. 300 people? That's something I don't see at the moment, right? It's about 200 when the train arrives. I mean, perhaps we need to have a better public transportation card, right? The city is massive and we still use a very old bus system here that just takes this area into account. So connecting that city part with that city part could actually do wonders, while at the same time also crossing then that main station that we have there. So it's going to be the large street with the trams. So there we have it. Cardigan transfer goes then down into Cardigan Centre, here into downtown, also connecting it with the docks that we have there. Continuing onwards to the main station and turning around here in that district again, taking main station, Springfield Road, here, and then back again to Cardigan transfer. Don't get confused that we have the Cardigan construction materials also delivered here, right? So this is kind of like mixing it up right now. It's the same color. And this is now Cardigan Tram 1 that we can use. And of course, we're also using the latest version that we have available. And with all of that modernization, we continue onwards then in the next episode. Transport Fever 2 into the future, perhaps. I have no idea. Stay tuned.